back indeed, ladies and gents. Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the space. We are the Shido. We are the Shido. What a powerful statement. But anyway, let's dive into today's topic and let's go around the room to introduce all of our speakers. We got a great panel today. And we've got one of our own, Vladimir, with us today. Vladimir, are you able to speak? Just to make sure.
Yes, sir. If you can hear me, I'm at the hospital right now, but always free for the shadow space and joining you and all our wonderful speakers on this shadow space this
I mean,
Friday.
unless you work at a hospital, you're pretty much free. I mean, you don't have any duties there, right? What happened to
Working
you, by the way?
just hiding from my day-to-day duty stuff in the locker room, but free to
Hmm.
join the space and participate with you guys.
Nice, awesome, awesome. So you work at the hospital. Okay. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Great. Well, glad you're healthy, though. That's the main thing. You don't need the hospital. The hospital needs you. You see, guys, this is our co-founders. This is what we're talking about. These are the people here. Anyway, let's go around the room. Mr. Fio Protocol, the face or the voice of Wayne. How's it going, Wayne?
Hey, GM, it's going great. Happy Friday, everyone. Excited to be here. Thanks for inviting us to this space. FIO Protocol, we just focus on simplifying the user experience when they're using any wallet, exchange, or Web3 platform. So if you're building in the space, check us out. But this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. UX is a big barrier to I think beginning that catalyst to mass adoption. So it's important to talk about.
Yes, sir. Of course. Thanks for jumping in. It's UX is one of those topics that is a never-ending topic. So let me introduce Treble, Mr. Rob. How are you feeling today?
GM, everyone. Rob here, one of the co-founders of Treble. We were the first V4 Dex on base. Now, base is an L2, but it is on top of an L1 called Ethereum, which we're all familiar here. So I believe some of those points may be relevant to today's conversation a little bit. But yeah, stoked to be here, you guys. We've got a lot of stuff coming out over the next couple of weeks. So if you guys are fans of DeFi, if you guys like yield farming or making limit orders or automated features, come check us out. Join our Telegram and say hi. But yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Awesome. Nice to have you, sir. Solban, Marcelo, my brother in Christ. How are you feeling?
My brother in Christ, let's go. Yeah, no, super happy to be here, guys. As always, it's Friday. Well, it's not always Friday, but always happy to be here. Quick introduction. My name is Marcello, or Marcelo, head of spaces here at Soulbound. We are a Web3 streaming platform. We've got a lot of different features: Streamify, Gamblify, Agentfy, all the Fis, and we've got a lot of cool stuff coming. TGE coming up very soon, but I want to leave my intro short. Want to get into the topic. Super happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
We can't wait for your TGE, sir. Love to have you here. Miai, Kate, what's up in Prague?
Hey, happy Friday, guys. Yeah, I'm excited to be here again. The topic is very nice. And my name is Kay, based out of Prague. We basically build agentic AI systems for B2B companies, mainly on Web 2 to automate their workflows. MIA is our first Web3 project that we are trying to make her a fully decentralized, where people can build their own AI agents and sell their own AI agents and rent out or even create an artist. So that is the whole plan. We have also some exciting news coming up next week, and also to a potential launch in about 2 weeks. And a partnership also with AI Nexus. They've actually built us a 3D module that we can integrate to an actual game of Mia's 3D portrait. So yeah, cool things coming. But thank you for for inviting me to speak here.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate you jumping on. Pradeep, my man, the educated beast we host often. How's it going? How's it going today?
It's great to be here, GM, everyone, and thank you for putting together a great panel again. I'm see the Wayne is here, Mia is here, Trouble's here, Soulbound's here. Wonderful. Will be a great conversation as always. My name is Pradeep. I'm the CEO of PAI3 Network. We are an edge AI container system for consumers and businesses to run AI confidentially and privately in their environment without ever having to share their data with a model. And the whole notion of using a Web3 ecosystem to replace SaaS-based AI like OpenAI, XAI, Anthropic is to really preserve the privacy of the data and also to not rely upon a single model system. We are powered by an agentic economy, which rewards everybody fairly. There are no hidden revenue sinks. And most importantly, the system underwrites or ensures agent behavior, which is very difficult to do right now in the Web 2 world. So if an agent misbehaves and harms the business or the consumer, there is a mechanism to make them whole through a shared risk pool. And therefore, we can get businesses to actually use AI properly and tap into this massive economy that currently is sitting outside the realm of Web3 and AI. This is a great topic. Everything we do obviously ultimately ties back to UX. So looking forward to learning from other speakers and also looking forward to sharing some thoughts. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here with us, sir. Always love to have you here. All right, Vladimir, would you be kind enough to introduce what Shido does before we dive head first into our topic?
Hello, Daddy Phil, and hello to all our wonderful participants. I must say that it's usually Bjorn's responsibility to host Shido spaces on Friday, but unfortunately or likely, the summer break period is up in Sweden, and he's spending time with his kids. There are two wonderful toddlers, and he can't really participate in the space like this space. And then next Friday, I'll be here with you. So about Shido, we are dual VM layer 1 proof of stake blockchain that offers the full DeFi ecosystem right at your hands. And recently, we've just launched our EVM bridge on our EVM layer that connects Shido to 6 most liquid blockchains out there and offers a entrance to our DEX, which is a unique, fully audited DEX on our chain, where you can launch your token, provide liquidity for passive income, but bear in mind there are some pitfalls in that, like in liquidity provisions as always. And deploy and launch your product on Shido. We are always happy to support you and help you on every step of the way. And yeah, here we are and working forward with the next chain upgrade, with the next DEX upgrades and the wallet upgrades, and also launch of the full-scale NFT platform on Shido. What I'm personally working on, there's a pretty long introduction, I know, but what I'm personally working on is bringing GameFi on Shido, working with the game engine, with the Web3 integration, but this is the news for the August, I assume. So stick with us, and happy to have you here, happy to have you on our space. And it's a wonderful topic, wonderful discussion theme, and let's dive in it.
Yes, sir. Excuse me. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff indeed. Glad to have you here, Vladimir. I know Sweden is notorious for its summer holidays. July is like it's like 4th of July, basically, the entire July month in Sweden. It's crazy. They just disappear for a month and then they come back and they're like, wow, we have this happy life, happy balance, work-life balance. I mean, yeah. You're saying that the founder is not prioritizing the project over their kids? Why am I even investing in this project? I'm just kidding. This is a general statement.
He's prioritizing it. He's working on Shido non-stop. I mean, just we don't want to hear the toddlers running around and rumbling, ruining the space, don't we?
Yeah, he's
That's
giving them
why
for
he.
adoption, everyone, to focus more on the project. That's the lore. Bjorn is stepping aside from his family to work full time, 24/7 on Shido. This is how bullish you should get. I'm just kidding, by the way. This is a joke. Please don't fire me. Anyway, let's dive into into our project today. Into our Jesus Christ, into our space. So we're talking about how L1s can improve the UX. The UX conversation can take us anywhere, and I'm following you guys everywhere you venture for this conversation. So, why has UX historically been treated as a secondary priority for L1s? Is my first question. And what structural changes are needed to flip that? Mr. Marcello, let's start with you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think there's so many different changes that can be made. Obviously, depending on the chain, different ones or different Elm ones have done different stuff. One thing that always comes to mind is just making it simpler for the consumer, right? So, a few examples that come to mind, and these are L2s, but I think Base is just doing a pretty decent job trying to reach the consumer. I personally think on an even bigger scale, I talk about them a lot, but I do think Abstract's doing a very good job, just building kind of a super app, building an app store for all the different apps and games,
So,
and
abstract is the abstract an L1 or how
they're an
would you
L2.
categorize
Yeah, they're an
L2?
L2 on
Okay.
Ethereum, but yeah, just in general, right? I think at the end of the day, L1s or L2s, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, you're still building, building an infrastructure here, and people are going to build on top of your blockchain, right? And I think what they've done very well is kind of build it all in one place. Literally a super app, build an app store. The same way if you have an iPhone and or you're using iOS, you go to the app store and everything is all in one place. Whether it's your AGW, which is your abstract global wallet, you'll see your portfolio there. You're gonna see a bunch of different apps and services and games you could use on that same portal. You're also exposed to a bunch of streamers. There's just a lot of different exposability all in one place. And I think that there's a lot that could be learned from that. Elm ones, I think, all the different apps and protocols and yielding protocols or whatever that's being built on that specific Elm one, it would be brilliant just to have it all in one place. Even a marketplace, right? If maybe this is something Abstract hasn't done yet, they're partnered with like OpenSea. But if it'd be cool if I could also buy NFTs just as much as I could buy tokens
But
on their
do you
portal.
think is it possible? Do you think it's possible to create something like a super app in today's Web3 where everything is so fragmented, though?
I guess it depends. I think they're doing a good job. I think if everything is built on your chain, it definitely makes it a lot easier. I think it does get difficult when, the whole cross-chain situation, right? I think if you have to bridge between different chains and then move all that, I think that could definitely get in the way. But obviously, if it's EVM compatible, that might make it a lot simpler. But yeah, I think I don't know. I guess on a technical level, I'd be curious what other people think as well. But just ultimately, I think yeah, being able to put everything in one place, making it easier for the average consumer to use. I think abstracting the process, removing all the different layers, all the different steps before you know being having to connect your MetaMask and then having to load the wallet and then having to bridge your Ethereum to whatever L2 you want to use. I know we're talking about L1s, but all these different steps just make things different. I mean, difficult. And I think just removing as many steps as possible, putting everything all in one place, I think defragmenting the process, to say the least, is the way to go. And yeah, those are some thoughts that come to mind. How to improve the UX, making it simpler for everybody, and putting all the dApps and protocols and all the different things that's being built on that L1 or L2 for that matter, all in one place that everybody could just access and not have to break their heads on how to use this beautiful technology.
Absolutely, man. What a great take. And yeah, we are not a technical bunch, me and you, but we certainly understand the benefits of good UX and UI. And that's, yeah, I mean, most people aren't technical, right? That's the thing. I'm wondering, yeah, yeah. But bridging, let's just. Did you just raise your hand, or oh, it's from previously? Okay. Let's just agree right off the bat that um, just having to bridge something is the worst thing humanity has ever created. Like, it's the worst thing, and it's so terrible because you have to buy gas, and I've been in the space for 3.5 years, and I still forget that I have to buy gas, and sometimes gas is on a different chain, or you need a gas in a different, the token, and it's so annoying. I wish we'd never came up with this stupidity, but anyway, don't hear me rant. Let's hear what Wayne has to say. Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, so I think it's important. I mean, there's a lot of great points, by Marcelo. When you look at user experience, and we're talking about layer ones, I really think that user experience is not just to the end user, and that's what we think about. But layer ones, they're basically the foundation of what's being built, the foundation of what's going to be utilized. So yes, they do need to focus on anyone that's using that layer one. From a user standpoint, that experience has to be super simple, frictionless. I agree. There's so much friction in the space to where, like, if you want to bridge, or if say you're doing DeFi and you want to yield for them, like, it's got to be a simple process, but also you got to at least build a base layer to where it's easy for others to build on your infrastructure, whether that's to build on your layer one chain, whether it's to build a layer two on top of your layer one. It's important to focus on enabling those tools to make it easier. And the more that you can do at that core layer, the better the user experience is, not only going to be on that layer, but the whole ecosystem of any other layer two or layer three that's built on top of you. So it's important to focus on that, not just focusing on the user experience, but if you're layer one, focus on the builder experience as well.
Yeah, builder experience, and is interesting. So you allow those different dynamic communities to evolve and emerge from your chain, and it's, that's the main thing. What I love about businesses that are platform businesses, I call them platform businesses because they represent a playground for others, and it can be a social media, even it can even be a social media app, Reddit or Facebook or anything else. But the point of it is that it leverages human creativity. When we're talking about L1s, it is mostly on devs, right? So for devs and builders, uh, what is important for them is my question. Mm, um, what is essential for them to build? What is important for them to have in terms of UX? Let's throw it over to Vladimir. Also, we're talking about EVM chains. Wink, wink. Um, Chido is a EVM chain, and also double a VASM chain as well, VASM compatible. I don't know a lot about that, but I do know that. Chido, Vladimir, go ahead.
Yes, we are, sir. And just wanted to state that the L1s initially were built by engineers for the engineers. So if we look historically back to the retrospective, like those genius geek brains, they built the first L1s, and then the other people just adopted the technology and built it, build their new forks or new L1s. So it's kind of complex, and I've sort of stumbled a little bit with it when I was started developing the GameFi, personally started developing a GameFi on Shido with a very small experience in Web3 and coding whatsoever, apart from the medical or science related Python programming for stat calculations. But the main goal, in my opinion, the main obstacle is the transition simplicity. to make it more accessible, to make it more affordable. And in my opinion, what helped me a lot is Shido, for example, Shido documentations and Ethereum documentations that are written in a very simple language that is accessible to normies, for example, like me, where you can basically read the text, read the letters, and do the things following the instructions and get the things done. It's not that difficult, but the guidance for people from those engineers, from those geniuses who have built it, is essential, in my opinion. This is the core principle of bringing more people in and adopting the user experience through the practices, through the nodes that are easily can be easily processed, that can be easily recreated. So the every process must be reproducible in the most simple terms. If someone developed a unique code base or the modal for an app, I mean, the other people who access the open source repo must be able to recreate it in a snap. That's the goal. That's the goal for the adoption, and that's the goal for the L1 growing for me. I mean, from the perspective of a normie who came to the Web3 and started building in the Web3 without any solid background. I mean, our goal is to bring more people, for example, like me, into the Web3 space, make it as easy and as affordable for everyone, maybe with the use of AI, maybe with the use of pre-made repos, maybe with the use of README files, but we need to make it affordable for all people who have the ideas, who have the vision, who just wants to build in the Web3. Besides, the Web3, the core backend component is on chain. I mean, that's the whole goal for the Web3 industry. The core backend component is on chain. You just need to be able to build the specific nodes to read that data, to basically display it on, to make it displayable on your front end, and you're good to go. I mean, that's the core principle that the UX for the L1s should follow, in my opinion. So
I totally
taking into
agree.
account,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so taking into account that it was built by the engineers for the engineers, like the geeks for the geeks, and trust me, I'm working with the geeks in a very positive and good way possible of this term. These are genius people, like in my science practice. Like, these are genius people, but sometimes the transition from their perspective to the normist perspective is the biggest obstacle. So that's the barrier that Web3 is capable to break. I mean, we just need to make it easy or intuitively understandable through the README files or through anything possible.
I totally agree, and the as user friendly we can make it, you know, the more people will join, and it doesn't like nowadays we have so many tools in the world. We have ChatGPT, we have so many AI tools, so many AI agents that they can perform a lot of the tasks for you, right? And that translates into people having the agency to create content, to consume content, but also create content on a large scale. They don't need technical abilities. They don't need too much technical abilities because they can ask ChatGPT to write a code. They can ask Midjourney or others to create a VO3, to create even a video of whatever they want to do. So I think nowadays we don't need to even have um, the necessity on the large scale. On the large scale, obviously, if we're talking about really deep and really advanced technical stuff, then fine, sure, of course we need professionals, obviously, but on a everyday basis, let's say, or on a low effort edge, we don't need to know so much to create a calculator or create, a social media bot. You don't need to know so much, and you shouldn't be needing to know much. The AI or the user interface should be able to generate it for you. And that's why even L1s, and some people even think that L1s are very technical, and I guess that's what we're challenging, right? Gas fees should be abstracted. I also think, or should they be abstracted? I don't know. I mean, you can challenge me on that notion as well. I think that they should. Um, what are the most invisible forms of friction currently L1s are facing in UX? Let's talk about this. Yeah, let's hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Actually, you guys mentioned most of my points. Yeah. By the way, like for anyone who's interested, not related, the Crypto Genius Act is about to be passed. Not now, but which means good for a good day, good calming days for the market at least. So maybe alt season also. So yeah. I mean, I agree with most of the things that you said. And when it comes to layer one, most of them, they don't, like as you guys mentioned earlier, they don't really have any UX issues, in my opinion. And I think they've got priority issues. So it's all about having your priorities set from the beginning. So every week it's a new feature or new module or even a gas prices, as you said. I think gas fees are needed. That's where I stand. I still, just to answer for that part. Um, um, I still don't have any like I can't give you exactly why it should stay, but I think it's needed. That's how I see it, at least from a project standpoint. And but yeah, and so but the question would be again, can a normal person send money without asking for help? And that is still a no answer for layer ones most of the time. And if you compare it even with the topic of Venmo, right? Venmo works because you don't have to think, right? It just feels like sending a text, and you go, even Revolut here in Europe, for example. So, but when you come to crypto, even in blockchain, uh, even today, it's still like connecting your wallet, switching network, make sure to sign something and hope it worked, and then also check your wallet that it's delivered or not. Like everything is, it's not smooth. It's like a homework. You have to do all of the steps by step. I mean, you can automate it also, but again, you still need to be present, especially if you're dealing with a large amount of money. And I think, as you guys mentioned earlier, layer ones are building mostly for other builders, yeah, not the people, which is good, but they're adding features and not fixing the actual flow or the actual problem. So of course the speed could be very good, like you could say it, you can brag about it, but if I can't send, let's say, $10 or $100 without reading an article first, how to do this without like destroying it or fucking up or something like that, then I don't know, like what are we doing in terms of in layer one? There's no point. People gets bored, and majority of people still are not in layer one. I mean, they can use it, but remember, they're like trying to make money, to trying to make their life easier. So the best UX moves don't just come from, I think, layer one. They come from projects that were willing to take an actual risk, and that I think would be, for example, us project creators. So even if it fails, you always take risks in creating something, and it works out eventually, and you become the provider of some sort of solution for someone to build on. And a good example for this would be Solana Pay. Of course, they have the budget, but it now they made it much more smoother, so you don't no longer need to ask, even you don't need to have wallets connected. And there's also Base now, like efficiently plugged into Coinbase app. And the best, I would say, and much like lucrative one would be Tone, which is growing very fast. The Tone Foundation, as I told you guys, like there's a lot of people here, Tone developers in Prague, and if you pay attention to them, it would be like interesting what they're doing, especially in the Telegram DApps. So they're really making that push into making it smooth and adaptable without worrying about anything. So these aren't massive upgrades, of course, but they are decisions, and these people startup decided to work on this, and they picked simplicity over complicating things. And I think that's what all layer one need to start at some point. Not everyone, but again, it just someone need to start, so that it will push the others to keep doing. And when you start this, you should ask, how should we or how should someone feel when they use my chain or this chain? And then after that, you can cut the steps, and then even if it means cutting features, then you cut those things out, and then you make it better and better. So if you can, of course you can brag about how fast the chain is, but if my friends or parents, whatever, they can't do anything still, then that you are still in the same spot and you need to fix it. So yeah, my closing point would be, again, blockchain and in general crypto, the whole entire crypto space, it doesn't even apply to layer one, it applies to everyone. Won't go mainstream. Again, our plan, our fight so far, even if investing and losing money, is to make it mainstream, right? To make it be adaptable all over the place. To make that happen, I think the only way is that it will only go, I would say, mainstream in this case, the moment people stop realizing they're even using it, and that's what everyone says. But yeah, that is the bar, and most chains or most projects, we're not close to that level yet. And I think if we achieve that goal, then we can move on to the next stage.
Yes, sir. The great, very, very well said. The abstraction is just it's a first step is to realize the technology, the potential of technology, and then the second step is to actually make it so usable that it's basically undistinguishable from today's products, or even introduce a new way of using the product that nobody has ever introduced before, but it should be very, very easy to use. That's the main goal. UX helps in that. And that, again, as Vladimir was saying, you have to enable just regular folk, regular people, to be able to build on your platform. Unless you do, it's not going to be successful. Rob, over to you.
Yeah, just I just wanted to add that over the last few years, there's been definitely some factors that have helped on board, builders to start into these new layer ones, and I mean, especially layer twos, I guess. But EVM has been a very important aspect of things. There's been a crazy dilemma where if you want to attract the most developers, then you need to have an EVM type chain, which makes sense for all Ethereum layer twos, right? Because they're Ethereum layer twos, they're supposed to be EVM. That's what makes sense. And then you have all these other layer ones that are implementing EVM based environments that are literally the same thing as Ethereum. As Ethereum, it started out with Binance Chain, and so on. There's Avalanche, etc. And you have these platforms that they're fully EVM compatible, but really there's no difference at all. You're using MetaMask, and one chain might be a little faster, one chain might have a little bit of that, a little bit of this, but it's all in the end to the average user, it's the same thing. Like, the user doesn't care if a transaction takes 2 seconds or 1.2 seconds. Like, to them, yeah, it can be twice as fast, but it doesn't make that much of a difference for a user who's waiting for that wallet confirmation. So it's been kind of interesting seeing how the EVM concept, it's been a driver of adoption, but also a deterrent, because Solana is not EVM. Solana has their own system, and you guys probably see that there aren't any Solana VM chains that are other layer ones that use Solana, for example. So it's like, it's kind of it's interesting to see how adopted Solana code got is. I mean, we've seen the same thing with Move, with Sui, but of course Move is being replicated on Sui, Aptos, Move Network, and others. So there's a lot more, which makes me wonder, why is Move being implemented more than SVM? But it's interesting to see this. But a layer one, in my opinion, has to, you do have to have the Solana Sui approach, where you have to have your own wallet, your own everything, to where you can start attracting your own users. Otherwise, you're just an EVM compatible layer one using MetaMask, and to a user, why should they use this layer one? Why Avalanche? Why Polygon? Why Moonbeam Network, for example? You know what I mean? Like, why Mode is the layer two? But but anyway, you guys get it. Like when you have all these EVMs that their main wallet, EVM layer one specifically, their main wallet's MetaMask, their main apps are forks of Ethereum apps. Their main teams are just teams that come from an already existing chain and they just release the same product on another chain. That doesn't really help with adoption. That helps with dilution of liquidity all over the place. So I do think for a brand new layer one to be as successful, as Solana or Ethereum or Sui, you have to be able to bring in something that's so different than the previous option, but so much better or comparable that it's impossible to ignore. It has to be easier. Now, EVM right now is a default for a lot of chains because that has the most smart contract developers. But once we're moving into JavaScript, once we're moving into more easier languages to work with, then you don't really have to have just one virtual machine active. But I don't know. It's just kind of I know I just kind of rambled here a little bit, but it is weird how EVM it ends up being a use case, but also a deterrent at the same time for these chains. But that's my input there.
Yeah, it is weird. Also, as you were saying, you do need to be inevitable. Right now, you not only different, but inevitable. I mean, before we had the luxury of buying things for the sake of buying things, right? We had the luxury of buying meme coins for the sake of buying meme coins. We had we had the luxury of buying NFTs for the sake of buying NFTs. Just to say that you own an NFT would get you pretty far. But now it doesn't work anymore. Now it's all about use cases because finally, and I think the crypto space is healing. I might be wrong, but it feels like people have started to look beyond just hype. They've started to look beyond just narratives and understood that hey, if we're not looking at the sustainability of it all, it might fall apart one day. So I'm really glad I'm seeing that, or at least I'm noticing that now. Hopefully we'll get it more. But before we do, let's hear it from Vladimir. Vladimir, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Hey, sir. Yeah. So I want to touch on the gas fees a little bit. I must point out that I'm totally agree with Miai and Treble on their point of views. But on the gas fees, in my opinion, they must exist. The gas fees just keep the network healthy. But for the developers, for the people behind the L1s, our main responsibility is to make them have the less clutter for you, the journey in the Web3 in general, like for the end user journey. Because don't forget, for the L1s, you have not only the chain itself, you have the validators who keep the ecosystem running. So, I mean, and if we are talking about the proof of stake L1s that are deflationary, for example, like our example, we recently adopted the E1559 mechanism for our chain that burns Shido on every E1559 transaction. I mean, the gas fees are essential because they not only provide the validator income, but also help to tackle inflations on proof of stake blockchains. And I get the total narrative about getting it as cheap for the end user as possible, but come on, let's touch the reality ground. The communist dream died in December 1991. So yeah, we just need to adapt to it. So in whole, the gas fees are needed for the network stability. And on the general aspects, I think that the EVM chains doesn't matter, like L1s, L2s, but primarily L1s. They have the higher potential currently, if I may touch on that, because they offer the entire ecosystem, like their own ecosystem. They are running it, they are supporting it, and they are providing like the sort of a blob that contains the either it's DeFi, GameFi, or just a utility layer, but they sustain it within its own bubble. And this is kind of majestic in my opinion, because each L1 is sort of a self-contained universe of a sort. But yeah, the developers and the team behind it just make it more affordable, more accessible for builders, for developers, and for normal users to come in and to explore it and expand their vision, expand their thoughts in the code-based snippets on your ecosystem. I think that's our goal. That's our objective in general.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Shido working tirelessly for your comfort. You're free to take this as a slogan, by the way. Pradeep, would you like to chime in? And really quickly, I got a question. What are L2s doing that L1s can learn from? Is there a missed opportunity line somewhere there?
Well, thanks. Really great comments by Vladimir and by Mihai about how we have to make it easier. L1 has to make it easier. And really, the whole ecosystem of Web3 in changing its who it's building for. And clearly, L1s are builder oriented, and they have not really thought of builders outside the Web3 ecosystem bubble. Agree with all that. I do have a slightly different take to consider as we look ahead. When we think of UI UX, we think in the context of how software has been built in the post Xerox era with a graphical interface and websites and apps on your phone. And all of that interaction is what we have grown up with. So whenever we think of UI UX, we tend to think of, click, drop, read, scroll. But as you look at the AI driven world, a lot of what we do today on any kind of a UI UX, we are not going to do anymore. We're not going to sit and scroll kayak.com and look for flights. We're not going to sit and scroll through newsfeed to find the article we want to read. All of that is going to get agentified. And what you will have is a completely different user experience. And this is why, OpenAI paid $6 billion to buy Johnny Ive's company. Not because he's the only guy who can build a device, but because I think fundamentally they understand that human interaction with software and technology is about to change fundamentally. And those who grasp the new UI UX experience will be are going to dominate this next wave. And maybe it's the Minority Report type, visual placement of all objects at your liking, as we all saw 20 years ago in the movie. But I think we're actually looking at a completely different UI UX universe where your interface with all technology, be it home technology or e-commerce or anything else, is going to be voice or even thought. It's definitely going to be intent-based rather than action-based. So you state your intent and something takes your intent and gets it done. And in an intent-based UI, if you buy into that theory, then every L1 and L2 has to provide a very robust agentic interface. They have to make the functionality of their technology accessible to essentially a bot, a very intelligent bot, but bot nevertheless. And I don't think that we have fully grasped yet how profound a change it means in user interaction. But I would say, while we should definitely empower UI UX of the nature that we are all familiar with, websites and applications and graphical objects to click and drag and scroll, I think a completely different interface also needs to be thought about. How does my L1 interact with agents in a manner that the agents can perform the function that a UI UX would have? And that's really a very different way to look at it. I'm not sure that most of us are ready for it, but I do think that the definition of UI UX in the agentic world goes way beyond, the GUI that Xerox designed, now 40 years ago. That's my view.
All right, man. What a great take indeed. So cool to see you guys so eloquently explain concepts that my little stupid brain cannot comprehend. But yeah, I do see the vision. I do understand that we need, and the world is becoming more agent-like. And before we know it, we might see people navigate this space that we work in or live in or we have fun in through agents or agentic interactions. And it's really interesting how this would look like. um, I wonder. uh, hmm yeah, no, this is really, really interesting. Miai, do you still have your hand up? Is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I mean, just I'll make it quick for the last question that you asked already. What are layer two are doing, better than layer one? So yeah, in my it's a good question actually, and so I think again, like I would go back to like the main point. They've become more like modular execution layers. This is what I would say, the layer ones are becoming more or less all the time. So they're built for integration and not attention. So which is a good thing. But a good example in this case, again, I'll go back to the base one because I've used it, and it it didn't invent new consensus, right? It didn't create completely new thing. It just embedded directly into Coinbase infrastructure, right? Directly what they have, and made every smart contract integration feel like Web2 app. So it's a simple move to fix something that is already complicated, but now it's already very simple to use. Like we could do, I think, like, I mean, layer one creators, I mean, developers and so on, projects can do this if they really want to. Like it is very possible to do it. And like even for example with zero knowledge thinking and startnet and zero knowledge, they kind of take things further with validity proofs. This is what I've been reading like recently. So they don't broadcast every step that they're following or everything that they're doing. They settle only verified results, like directly when after everything is done, and it's much more simpler to understand. It's clearer, faster, and much more, I think, also even easier for programmers to do some their own customization on top of it. So and when you bring about AI also on top of this, it's perfect for automation and for creation of AI agents that need like more or less trustless scaling, in this case for us also. So yeah, I mean, I think layer ones are still building like before. Nothing has changed, and it's not even showing any kind of progress. And layer twos in this case are more like, here's the execution as a service, plug in and let the user feel nothing. So I think that is what layer two doing in this case. And when this is something maybe layer one can take. Like this is just my opinion in terms of what layer ones can actually take from layer two, what is like already working. So yeah, I mean, again, that's what layer ones need to learn. Just be less visible, more composable. This is also, I think, a good word. And then build like logic blocks and like not like empires in this, like if you play some games, these board games. So yeah, I mean, this is what I would think things can be changed, and layer ones can take some advice. I mean, some points from layer twos.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed. Wow. Great points made by Miai. Awesome stuff. We're almost ready to wrap things up. If there's anything you guys want to add before we wrap today's session, which was just amazing, similar to other sessions as well. We love having the Shido spaces by the end of the week, every week. Treble, Rob, anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
Oh yeah, well, great space today. Thanks for having me on again, you guys. I mean, as layer two builders, we're big supporters of Ethereum primarily. So, I do believe that Ethereum was not going anywhere, but there's definitely room for a few other networks to kind of do their own thing. But layer twos are instrumental for Ethereum itself, because it does make things a lot more accessible and a lot easier for your everyday user. And with base networks specifically, the way that they're, steamrolling their dominance all across all layer twos, I do foresee base becoming essentially interchangeable with Ethereum layer one concept, at least in the eyes of Western society. I mean, we know that Robinhood chain is trying to do something. Robinhood's trying to do their own chain of some sort, but the kind of adoption levels we've seen on base have been insane. I mean, we have the highest TVL out of all layer twos and most layer ones, and they don't even have their own native token. So that's been absolutely huge. We're currently developing a lot of different features that will be the first of their kind on base over the next week. Next week, we have quite a bit of stuff coming out. We will be releasing our user-generated referral links. So anyone who makes their first swap on Treble will be able to generate their own link, and then they share it with their friends, and then you'll be able to get 0.05% of every swap from your friends using your link. And then this system's actually going to run an upgrade over the next couple of weeks as well. So you will start receiving referral link boosts according to how much XTREB you have staked. And then also, we released Nitro strategies over the last couple of weeks, single token deposit systems that let you earn yield in a very CFI style fashion. Well, next week, we're doing V2 of those versions. So you will start having an additional yield layer on top, and you'll be able to earn your regular LP style auto compounding rewards with that solo deposit. But on top of that, you will start earning tiered yield of our governance tokens based on how much XTREB or governance token you already have actively staked. A lot of stuff coming out. This referral based system is going to be the first of its kind on base. The way we just released limit orders as well. If you guys are looking to have best rates on base, you can either do instant swaps. We have full scale aggregation, so you will get the best rates. And if you place limit orders with us, you will actually have less slippage than you would in a centralized exchange, because our limit orders do function like liquidity and they get filled through swaps of external users. The way you end up receiving that trade after completion is actually a lot cleaner than you would even from a centralized exchange platform. But yeah, great space today, guys. Thanks for having me on, and I will see you on the next one in 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. Pradeep, anything you want to add before we wrap things up?
First, it's really great to be with such thoughtful speakers. Really great learning, listening and learning to everybody, Trouble and Miai and Sir Vlad from Shido. So thank you for having me here. This area is certainly more up the alley of the team here, but I do believe that this conversation that we're having is very fundamental to Web3. Getting our user experience right, be it the builder experience, be it the business experience, be it the user experience. This is our big hill to climb, because that's the big reason I hear all the time, and I'm sure we all do, why we haven't onboarded the next billion users. Is because the vernacular is too scary, the jargon, the little bit of an elitism of great technology minds building for each other has been a big hindrance to an average person feeling comfortable building or using the Web3 technology stack. So conversation, and thanks for having me here, and really enjoyed everybody's thoughts.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you all sharing ideas and thoughts with us. It's a great privilege and honor to talk with you. So thanks for coming up. That does it for our weekly space from the Shido. Vladimir, anything you want to add? I'll leave the final words to you, sir.
Well, I think that's wrapping the space up. I think that a blockchain should serve the users first, and our goals of people behind the projects is to make that the norm for everyone, for users and for developers as well. And by the way, let me touch on one thing extra. I recently seen the X post, not sure if it's valid or not, can vouch for that, but the post said that Cosmos is starting to wrap its EVM development because it's too expensive. So I must say, just come on, guys. Shadow already built it for you. Like, we are a Cosmos native chain that solves the interoperability with the EVM layer for you. Just come on, just interact with us.
Just saying.
Yeah, just saying. So yeah, on the overall topic, the blockchain should serve the users, and all of us here, in my opinion, should make it the overall goal for us as the developers of people behind the project to make it more accessible, more affordable for people who build on Shido, and when they build for, oh, sorry, not on Shido, on other L1s out there, when people build on L1s on an affordable way, it will be affordable for the end user as well. So that's my final take.
Yes, sir. Thank you for jumping in and appreciate you coming on. Don't tell Bjorn, but we enjoy having you here as well. That does it for our spaces, guys. Thank you so much. We'll be back next week. Until then, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.